Mr. Lincoln, I know it has been quite some time since you've been president. Thank you for meeting with me and taking a moment to discuss our current day problems. I feel you need to know that our country faces challenges at every level.
Well, President Obama, it is a pleasure to be with you here today. I can see the look of concern. The problems must be of the utmost importance.
Well, Mr. Lincoln, our country faces problems on three different fronts: the economy, energy, and the environment. These are serious problems that could easily change the entire way Americans live their lives.
I understand. Please continue.
It basically best stated that we have limited amount of resources, with an unlimited demand from our 310 million people.
Dear Lord. Did you say 310 million people? Are you sure?
Yes, Mr. Lincoln. That's how many people live in our country.
Oh my dear God. Where do they all live? How can there be enough food for every citizen? 310 million people, how is this even possible? Are people going hungry in your time?
Not yet, Mr. Lincoln. But that is my grave concern for our future. Most Americans right now enjoy an overabundance of food. Right now there is plenty of food for everyone. In fact, most Americans don't realize the situation that our nation will be facing in the coming years. Due to possible currency collapse and future oil shortage, there may not be enough food for everyone.
I understand how a currency collapse would cause grave problems. But oil? I don't understand. How does oil relate to food production?
Oil, discovered in Pennsylvania before you became president, has now become our master energy source. It is responsible for everything in our lives, including food production.
Really? I did not think much of it at all upon its discovery in Pennsylvania. Please tell me, how does oil help feed our citizens in your time?
Well, as you can imagine, Mr. Lincoln, to feed 310 million people takes a lot more than the power from oxen and horses.
Yes, I can only imagine.
Oil is used to power large machines and provides automation to our farming. With large-scale automation, most people now live in cities. Most people know very little about farming or agriculture in our time. This mass ignorance has put our large-scale food production in the hands of a few thousand people in high-tech machinery. It takes around 400 gallons of petroleum to feed one person for 1 year.
Incredible. So only a few people are responsible for feeding the masses. This is a little surprising to me. Most people in America farm in order to grow food and support their own existence.
Well, Mr. Lincoln, with large-scale farming and food production, most people know more about American Idol than how to grow potatoes. To make this situation more grave, most Americans are unaware that oil production is leveling off and soon will begin depleting over many years. This future oil shortage will send food prices sky high, and I'm afraid beyond the reach of the average citizen. This means that many people may go hungry, especially the elderly and the poor.
This sounds like a massive problem. But has the population of United States stopped increasing?
I'm afraid not. Between the years 2000 and 2011 we have added over 30 million people.
My God. This is starting to sound a little out of control. Of course, I believe it is a God-given right for the people to procreate at their own discretion. But if only the people knew about this problem. Mr. Obama, are the citizens of this country aware of the problem?
I understand your respect for the American people. But it is important not to spread this information prematurely and set off panic buying, thus creating a precursor to the actual crisis. Since this is a global problem, we have scientists at universities all over the world working on a variety of solutions. Hopefully we can find a solution within the next several years as to avert a global food collapse and possibly a worldwide famine in years to come.
Mr. Obama, I really don't know what to say at this moment. I mean, how did this situation happen?
Mr. Lincoln, petroleum has allowed humans to access the most dense energy source in the history of man. With such a tremendous energy force behind us, we were able to increase our population to a staggering 7 billion people worldwide.
7 billion? That is simply too many. 7 billion people.
Scientists explained that without petroleum it is possible that our planet can only support between 2 to 4 billion people. This means there is a possibility that our current population of 7 billion is not sustainable without the mass use of petroleum or some other extremely dense source of energy.
Perhaps there is another energy source that will allow you to sustain your large global population.
There are teams of scientists at universities and think tanks across the world exploring this very issue. But the sad truth is we may never find a source of energy as truly dense as petroleum.
But when you started using petroleum for something as vital as your food supply, did you not know that petroleum was a finite resource and was not inexhaustible?
Well, petroleum has been used extensively for food production long before I was born, so I can accurately speak to the thinking behind that decision. And with the timing of this global crisis not fully understood, it is probable that I will not be president when the brunt of this crisis begins to unfold. But as a citizen of this country, and the world, I am concerned about the possibility of a global famine, unlike anything the world has ever seen.
Mr. Obama, I don't know what to tell you. I think you already know the unspoken reality. Throughout human history, nature has proven that she can be fantastically cruel if the right circumstances are present. There have been so many cases of large famines, death, and disease throughout human history. Unfortunately, this very normal struggle for life has been shielded from you for the past 150 years by using petroleum. And now your petroleum will start slowly depleting in a few years, and you're asking my advice. My advice is to deal with reality that humans have had to deal with throughout the history of the world. A struggle for existence is something that all organisms must go through. Just because you and your modern-day people have been temporarily excused from this contest does not mean you are permanently immune from it. You and your modern-day people will find out what real life is all about soon enough. I wish you all the very best. I'm sorry I can't be of more help to you.
Well, anyway, thank you for your time, Mr. Lincoln. God help us all.
Amen.